"You can sleep in the garage. There is an old mattress in there." My son said this while giving the best bedrooms to my daughter-in-law's family. But everyone found out what I had done the next day, and no one slept in that house again. My name is Emily. I am 55 years old, and this is the story I kept to myself for too long. Not out of shame, but because it took me years to understand that a mother's love also has limits. It all started 3 years ago when my son Michael turned 32. He had already been married for 2 years to Ashley, a girl from a good family who always treated me with courtesy. Cold courtesy, but courtesy nonetheless. I lived in the house that my husband and I built together brick by brick during 30 years of marriage. A 2-story house in a quiet suburb with a garden in the front and a backyard where purple lilacs grew. That house smelled of fresh coffee every morning and pancakes on Sundays. When my husband David died 5 years ago from a sudden heart attack, the house felt too big for me, but it was my sanctuary. Every corner held his voice, his laugh the echo of our Saturdays watching movies in the living room. Michael was my only son. I raised him with all the love a mother can give. He studied business administration, got a good job at a logistics company, and married Ashley in a beautiful wedding in Napa Valley. I was happy for him. I truly was. Ashley came from a wealthy family from the city. Her father owned a chain of restaurants. Her mother, Karen, was one of those women who wear pearls every day and always have something to criticize, with a smile on their lips. The first time we met, Karen looked me up and down and said, "What a cozy house." I smiled. I did not say anything, but I understood the message. After the wedding, Michael and Ashley rented an apartment downtown. I visited them once a month. I always brought a casserole or a pie that I made with my own hands. Ashley received them with a polite smile, but she never ate anything. "Thanks, Emily, but we are watching our diet." I nodded, hid the pain, and went back to my empty house with the full Tupperware in my hands. Months passed. Michael called me less. When he did, it was always quick. "Mom, I have a meeting. I will call you later." Later never came. But I understood. Children grow up. They make their own lives. That is natural. One day Michael called me excited. "Mom, we have news. Ashley is pregnant." My heart filled with light. I was going to be a grandma. I cried tears of happiness that night, hugging David's photograph on my nightstand. "You are going to be a grandpa, my love. I wish you were here to see it." During the pregnancy, I tried to get closer to Ashley. I offered to go with her to the appointments, help her with the baby shopping, make her chicken soup when she had cravings. She always had an excuse. "Thanks, Emily, but my mom is already coming with me." "Thanks, Emily, but we already bought everything." "Thanks, Emily, but I do not feel well." I nodded, smiled, and swallowed the sadness. When my granddaughter Sarah was born, I was in the hospital waiting room. Karen and her husband went in first. They spent 2 hours inside. When they came out, Karen looked at me with that sharp smile and said, "You can go in now, but do not wake her up. She is very tired." I walked in on tiptoes. Ashley was sleeping. Michael was holding the baby. When he saw me, he gave a tired smile and handed her to me. "Look, Mom, it is Sarah." I held her in my arms and felt the world stop. She was so small, so perfect. She smelled of baby powder and miracles. I touched her little hand and she squeezed my finger. "Welcome to the world, my love," I whispered. It was the most beautiful moment of my life, but it was also the last moment I felt important to them. Because the next day, when I returned to the hospital with clean clothes for Michael and soup for Ashley, the nurse stopped me at the door. "Excuse me, ma'am, only direct family members." "I am the grandmother." "Yes, but Mrs. Ashley left instructions that only her mother can enter today." I stood there with the hot container in my hands, watching Karen walk in with a Louis Vuitton bag and a triumphant smile. I went back home, sat in the kitchen, and for the first time I felt that something had broken inside me, but I did not know how much yet. Have you ever trusted someone you should not have? Have you been disappointed by someone you loved? Tell me your story in the comments. I want to read it. The first months after Sarah's birth were strange. I called Michael every 2 days to ask how they were. He always answered in a rush. "Everything is fine, Mom. The baby is healthy. Ashley is recovering." Can I go visit you guys? Better wait a little bit. Ashley needs rest. I waited. 1 week, 2, 3. Finally, Michael invited me on a Sunday. Come for lunch, Mom, but do not bring anything. Ashley already cooked. I arrived with a bouquet of flowers and a teddy bear for Sarah. I rang the doorbell. Ashley opened the door with the baby in her arms. Hi, Emily. Come in. I walked in. The house was spotless. It smelled of vanilla and expensive detergent. In the living room, there were new photographs. Ashley with Sarah. Karen with Sarah. Michael with Sarah. None of me. Can I hold her? I asked. Ashley hesitated. She is about to sleep. Better do it later. I sat on the sofa. Michael came out of the kitchen with a coffee tray. How are you, Mom? Good, son. Missing you girls. He smiled uncomfortably. Yeah, we have been busy. We ate in silence. I tried to make small talk, but everything felt forced. Ashley answered with one-word sentences. Michael looked at his phone. When Sarah started crying, Ashley stood up quickly. I am going to breastfeed. Excuse me. She went to the bedroom. Michael stood up too. I am going to help her. I was left alone in the living room finishing my cold coffee, looking at the photographs where I did not exist. I went back home that afternoon with a knot in my chest, but I comforted myself thinking that things would get better, that Ashley was just tired, that Michael was just adapting to being a father. I held on to that hope, like someone holding on to a burning nail, because the truth is that I remembered how everything was before Ashley, before Karen, before my son stopped calling me Mommy and started calling me Emily in front of his wife. I remembered Sundays when Michael was a boy. We woke up early. David made eggs and bacon while I made toast and hot chocolate. Michael came into the kitchen in his pajamas with messy hair and puffy eyes. Good morning, champ, David would say. Good morning, Dad. Good morning, Mommy. And he hugged me tight as if I were his safe place. We ate breakfast together at the kitchen table. David told him stories about when he was a kid. Michael laughed. I looked at them and thought, this is my family. This is all I need. After breakfast, we went to the park. Michael played soccer with his dad. I sat on a bench under the shade of a tree with a thermos of coffee and a book I never read because I preferred watching them play. When Michael fell and scraped his knees, he ran to me. Mommy, it hurts. I hugged him, cleaned the wound with water, put a Band-Aid on it, and kissed his forehead. It is okay, my love. It is okay. And he ran back to play, as if my hug had the power to heal any pain. In the afternoons when David sat down to read the newspaper, Michael and I cooked together. Will you teach me to make cookies, Mommy? Of course, my sweetie. He mixed the flour with so much enthusiasm that we both ended up covered in white powder. We laughed. David took photos of us. The kitchen smelled of butter and happiness. Those were my days. My whole life fit in that house, in that kitchen, in those hugs. When Michael went to college, things changed a little. He went out more with friends. He came home late, but always he gave me a kiss on the forehead before going to sleep. Good night, Mommy. Good night, my love. Rest well. When he met Ashley, I was happy for him. I thought he finally found someone who will make him happy. The first time he brought her home, she was kind. She smiled. She helped me set the table. What a beautiful house, Mrs. Emily. Thank you, dear. This is your house, too. The four of us had dinner. David cracked jokes. Michael laughed. Ashley smiled politely. Everything seemed fine. But after that night, things started to change. Michael started spending more time at Ashley's place. When he came to see us, he was always in a hurry. Mom, Ashley is waiting for me. Mom, we have plans. Mom, we will talk another day. I did not say anything. I thought it was normal, that couples need their space. But I missed my son. I missed our afternoons in the kitchen, our talks before bed, his spontaneous hugs. I missed being his safe place. When David died, Michael was with me for the first few weeks. He hugged me at the funeral. He helped me with the paperwork. He stayed with me at night when I could not sleep. Mommy, you are not alone. I am here. But afterwards, little by little, he drifted away again. And I was left alone in that big house full of memories and silence. now sitting in my kitchen looking at the coffee mug Michael gave me years ago with the phrase, "For the best mom in the world." I asked myself, at what moment did I stop being his world? At what moment did I become an uncomfortable guest in his life? While I tell you all this, I wonder where you are listening from. Write the name of your city in the comments. 6 months passed since that uncomfortable visit to Michael's apartment. I kept calling every week, but the answers were getting shorter. "Mom, we are fine. I will call you later." "Mom, Sarah is sleeping." "Mom, we are busy." One day, I decided to go without warning. I baked a chocolate cake, Michael's favorite since he was a boy, and took an Uber to his apartment. I rang the doorbell. No one answered. I rang again. I waited. Finally, the door opened. But it was not Michael or Ashley. It was Karen. "Emily, what a surprise." She looked at me with that polite smile that did not reach her eyes. "Hi, Karen. I came to see Michael and the baby. I did not know you were here." "Yes, I come every week. Ashley needs me a lot with the baby." I stood in the doorway with the cake in my hands, feeling like I was intruding. "Can I come in?" Karen hesitated for a second, just a second, but I noticed it. "Sure, come in. They are in the living room." I walked in. Ashley was sitting on the sofa giving Sarah a bottle. Michael was not there. "Hi, Ashley." "Hi, Emily. What are you doing here?" The question hurt more than a slap. "I came to visit you girls. I brought cake." "Oh, thanks. Leave it in the kitchen." I went to the kitchen. Karen followed me. "You know, Emily, maybe you should call before coming. Ashley has a very strict routine with the baby, and unexpected visits stress her out." I turned to look at her. "I am Sarah's grandmother. I am not a visit." Karen smiled. "Of course not, but you understand that Ashley needs her space. Being a new mom is very demanding." "I know. I was a new mom too." "Yes, sure, but things are different now. Moms today are more informed, more conscious. They have methods. Ashley reads a lot of parenting books." I did not say anything. I just nodded. I went back to the living room. I sat in the armchair, the one furthest from the sofa where Ashley was holding Sarah. "Can I hold her when she finishes eating?" Ashley exchanged a look with her mother. "Better not, Emily. After eating, she needs to burp, and then I put her down for a nap. If people hold her, she gets unsettled." I stayed silent, looking at my granddaughter from afar, so close and yet so distant. Karen sat next to Ashley. "Ash, did you tell Emily about the christening party?" "What party?" I asked. Ashley did not look at me. "We are going to christen Sarah next month at the church in the gated community." "That is great. When is it so I can request the day off?" "It is a small event," Karen interrupted me. "Only close family and godparents." "I am close family. I am the grandmother." "Yes, of course," Ashley said. "We will let you know the date." But in her tone and her look, I knew I was not welcome. I stayed 30 minutes more. Karen and Ashley talked between themselves about diapers, pediatricians, sleep training. I just listened like a stranger in my own family. When I got up to leave, Ashley did not even get up from the sofa. "Thanks for coming, Emily. Take care." Karen walked me to the door. "Emily, you understand that Ashley is very tired, right? Being a mom is exhausting. I am here to support her. But you have your life too. You do not have to come so often." I stared at her, and in that moment I understood something I had been denying for months. Karen did not want to share her granddaughter, and Ashley was letting it happen. "I understand," I said finally. I left the building with the cake untouched in my hands. On the street, a lady sweeping the sidewalk saw me and smiled. "Leftover cake, ma'am." I gave it to her. "Enjoy it." She looked at me with tenderness. "God bless you. You look sad." "I am fine," I lied. I went back home in the Uber, looking out the window, watching the streets of a city that suddenly seemed hostile to me. When I arrived, I sat in the kitchen. I did not cry. Not yet. I just poured myself a glass of water and stayed there in silence, feeling like something inside me was starting to crack. 2 weeks later, I received an invitation via WhatsApp. It was an elegant image with gold letters. Invitation to the christening of Sarah Michael's last name. At the bottom in small letters it said, "Private event confirmation required." I called Michael. "Son, I received the invitation for the christening." "Yeah, Mom. Are you going to be able to go?" "Of course I'm going to go. She is my granddaughter." There was a silence. "Mom, there is something I want to tell you. Karen and her husband are going to be the godparents." "Oh, that is nice." "And the party is going to be at their house. It is something intimate, only 20 people." "I understand." "Mom, do not get mad." "I am not mad, son." But I was. I just did not know how to say it without sounding like the bitter mother-in-law that Ashley surely thought I was. The day of the christening. I arrived early at the church. I wore my best navy blue dress, the one David gave me for our 25th anniversary. "Today, you are going to meet your great-granddaughter, my love," I whispered to his photo before leaving. In the church, I sat in the third pew. In the front were Karen, her husband Ashley Michael, and all of Ashley's family. I was alone. When the priest poured the holy water on Sarah's head, the baby cried. I wanted to cry too, but I held it in. After the ceremony, everyone went to Karen's house. I drove my own car. It was a huge house in a wealthy neighborhood with a garden and a fountain. There were waiters with trays, soft music, elegant decoration. I stood near the entrance, not knowing where to stand. Ashley was surrounded by her friends, all holding Sarah in turns. Karen was taking photos, Michael was serving drinks. No one looked at me. I walked up to Michael. "Son, can I hold Sarah for a moment?" He looked at Ashley. She shook her head subtly. "Mom, better later. She is fussy." I stood there like a ghost in my own family. After 2 hours, I left without saying goodbye. No one noticed my absence. That night in my house, sitting in the dark of my living room, I understood something that broke my heart. I was no longer part of my son's life. I had been replaced, and the worst part of all is that Michael was allowing it. The following months were a slow fading away. I kept calling Michael, but now only once a week. I did not want to be the pushy mother-in-law that Ashley probably complained about. "Mom, everything is good. I will send you photos of Sarah." And he sent me photos. Sarah in her crib, Sarah with Karen, Sarah in the park, Sarah in Ashley's arms. He never asked me to go see her in person. I saved every photo in a special folder on my phone. I looked at it before sleeping, imagining what it would be like to hold her, smell her head, hear her laugh. But they were just photos screens distance. One day Michael called me. "Mom, I have to tell you something." "What happened, son? Is everything okay?" "Yeah, everything is fine. It is just that Ashley and I are thinking of moving." "Really? Where to?" "To a bigger house. Sarah is growing and we need more space." "That is great, son. I am very happy for you." There was a pause. "Mom, I also wanted to tell you something else. We have been thinking that you live alone in that big house. And you are already 55 years old. Maybe it would be good if you thought about something smaller, more manageable." I felt a sharp pain in my chest. "Are you telling me to sell my house?" "No, Mom. I am just telling you to think about it. That house has a lot of expenses. Maintenance, property tax, electricity, water. And you there all alone. This house is my home, Michael. It is where I raised my son, where I lived with your father." "Yes, Mom, I know." "But Dad is gone, and the house is deteriorating. The roof leaks. The garden is overgrown. It would be more practical to sell and buy a small condo. Something comfortable for you." "And what would I do with all the memories?" "Mom, memories are in the heart, not in the walls." That phrase hurt me more than everything else, because it came from him, from my son, from the boy who cried when I threatened to throw away his old toys, because they have memories, Mommy. "I will think about it," I said finally. But I was not going to think about it. That house was the only thing I had left of David, of my life, of myself. I was not going to sell it. 3 months passed. Michael did not mention the topic again, until one day I received another call. "Mom, we found a house. It is beautiful. It has 4 bedrooms, a garden, a study. It is in a very safe, gated community on the other side of town." "That is great, son. I am very happy." "Mom, there is something else." His tone changed. He got nervous. "What is it?" "It is just that, well, to buy the house we need to put down a large down payment, and well, our savings are not enough. So we thought that, well, that maybe you could help us." I remained silent. "Help you how?" "Well, with a loan. Or if you sell your house, you could give us a part, as an investment in our future, in Sarah's future." I felt the floor moving beneath my feet. "Michael, that house is everything I have." "Mom, I am not asking you to give it to us. Just help us. We are your family. Sarah is your granddaughter. Don't you want her to grow up in a nice place?" "Of course I want that, son. But Ashley says her parents already helped us with half. But we are short. And well, I thought that you would also want to contribute." There it was, the comparison, the pressure. Karen had already given money. I had to give too. "How much do you need?" $50,000. $50,000. It was almost everything I had saved. The money David and I put away for years for our old age. The money that was now only mine. "Michael, that is a lot of money." "Mom, we will pay you back. With interest. I will sign a promissory note, but we need your help." I closed my eyes. I took a deep breath. "Let me think about it." "Thanks, Mom. I knew I could count on you." He hung up. I sat in the living room looking at the walls of my house, the walls David painted, the floor we laid together, the window where the sun came in every morning. He was really asking me to sell all that. He was really asking me to give them my only security. That night I could not sleep. I spoke to David in the darkness of my room. "What do I do, my love? Do I give him the money? He is our son. But it is also all we have left." David did not answer, but I knew what he would tell me. "Do not do it, Emily. That money is for you, for your old age, for your peace of mind." But he was my son. And I had always done everything for him. The next day I went to the bank. I took out $50,000 from my savings. I put the check in a white envelope. I called Michael. "Son, I have the money." "Really, Mom, you are the best." "Yes, but I want you to sign a promissory note and pay me back in 2 years." "Of course, Mom. Whatever you say. I love you." "I love you too, son." We met at a coffee shop. He arrived with Ashley. She did not even greet me with a kiss, just a "Hi, Emily" from afar. Michael signed the note. I gave him the envelope. "Thanks, Mom. You do not know what this means to us." Ashley took it and put it in her purse without saying anything. "Are you not going to count the money?" I asked. She looked at me. "We trust you, Emily." But her tone was not of trust, it was of indifference. I went back home with the note in my hands. I put it in a folder along with the house documents. And that night, for the first time in months, I cried. I cried because I had just given all my money to a son who no longer called me Mommy, who no longer hugged me, who no longer needed me. I cried because I had become an emotional ATM. I cried because I knew in the bottom of my heart that they were never going to pay that money back. But I swallowed it all. The pain, the sadness, the humiliation. Because that is what mothers do. They annul themselves, they sacrifice, they fade away. And I almost did not exist anymore. I still wonder if I did the right thing. And you? What would you have done in my place? 4 months passed since I gave them the money. Michael and Ashley moved into their new house, a beautiful 2-story residence with a large garden and luxury finishes. They sent me photos on WhatsApp. "Look, Mom, we are settled. The house turned out beautiful." I replied with a heart emoji because I did not know what else to say. They did not invite me to see it in person. I waited. 1 week, 2, 3. Nothing. Finally, I called them. "Son, I would like to see the house. Can I come over one of these days?" "Yes, Mom, of course. I will let you know when." That "I will let you know when" never arrived. But one day, 2 months later, Michael called me. "Mom, we are going to have a family lunch next Sunday to inaugurate the house. Can you come?" My heart jumped. "Of course, son. What should I bring?" "Do not bring anything, Mom. Ashley already has everything planned." "Are you sure I can make my pot roast?" "You know what? No, Mom. Seriously. Just come." On Sunday, I arrived early. I put on my best wine-colored dress. I fixed my hair. I put on the pearl earrings David gave me for our 30th anniversary. I rang the bell at the gate. Michael came out to open it. "Hi, Mom. Come in." I entered. The house was even more beautiful than it looked in the photos. Marble floors, huge windows, modern furniture, a garden with perfect grass and a stone fountain. What a beautiful house, son. Yeah, right. Ashley decorated it all. She has very good taste. We went into the living room. There were Karen and her husband sitting on the main sofa. Ashley's parents looked at me with that usual cold courtesy. "Hi, Emily." "Hi, Karen." "Good afternoon, John." I sat in an armchair, the one furthest away. Ashley came out of the kitchen with Sarah in her arms. The baby was already a year and a half old. She was beautiful in a white dress and a headband with flowers. "Hi, Emily." "Hi, Ashley. Sarah is so big." Yes, she is growing very fast. I stood up and extended my arms. "Can I hold her for a little bit?" Ashley hesitated. She looked at her mom. Karen nodded reluctantly. "Okay, but do not let her go. She is very restless." I took Sarah in my arms. It was the first time I had held her in months. I felt her weight, her warmth, her smell of baby soap. "Hi, my love. I am your Grandma Emily." She looked at me with big, curious eyes. She did not cry, she just observed me. "Say Grandma," I whispered. But Sarah did not say anything. She just put her finger in her mouth and looked towards where Ashley was. "Mommy," she said. Ashley smiled. "Come here, my love." Sarah reached her arms out to her. I let her go. I was left with empty arms. During the meal, I sat at a corner of the table. Karen and John were at the heads, Michael and Ashley in the center. I was at the end next to Ashley's aunt, who barely spoke to me. We ate salmon with salad mushroom risotto and a raspberry dessert that looked like it was from a magazine. Everything elegant, everything expensive. I ate in silence, listening to how Karen and Ashley talked about the decoration, about private schools for Sarah, about the trip to Europe they were planning. "We are going to take Sarah to Paris next year," Ashley said. "We want her to know the world from a young age." "That is nice," I said. "I have never been to Paris." No one responded. They kept talking, as if I had not said anything. After lunch, Karen and Ashley went to the garden with Sarah. The men stayed in the living room watching football. I went to the kitchen to help clean up. There I found the housekeeper, a young girl. "Let me help you," I told her. "No, ma'am, I can do it." "I insist. I do not like being idle," she smiled. "Thank you, ma'am. We will wash the dishes together." She told me she had been working there for 3 months. "How is it working with Mrs. Ashley?" I asked. The girl hesitated. "She is demanding, but she pays me well." "Does Mrs. Karen come often?" "Oh yes, almost every day. Sometimes she stays to sleep. She has her own bedroom upstairs." I felt a punch in the stomach. "Karen has her own bedroom here." "Yes, ma'am. The guest bedroom is decorated especially for her. She has her clothes, her things. Mr. Michael says it is so she can come whenever she wants to take care of the girl." I stayed silent, drying a plate, feeling how something inside me broke a little more. Karen had a bedroom in my son's house, a permanent bedroom, while I had not even been invited to see the house until that day. The girl kept talking. "Mrs. Karen is very affectionate with the girl. She comes every morning, gives her breakfast, takes her to the park. Sometimes she even stays to sleep when Mrs. Ashley has an event." "That is nice," I said with a broken voice. "Are you family of Mrs. Ashley?" "I am Mr. Michael's mom, Sarah's grandmother." The girl looked at me with surprise. "Really?" "Excuse me, ma'am. I did not know. It is just that, well, I had never seen you around here." "I do not come much. I live far away." I lied. I lived 40 minutes away, the same distance as Karen. We finished washing the dishes. I left the kitchen and went to the garden. There were Karen and Ashley sitting on wicker chairs drinking iced tea. Sarah was playing on the grass with her toys. I approached. "Can I sit?" Ashley pointed to a chair. "Sure." I sat down. Karen and Ashley kept talking amongst themselves about trips, about clothes, about mutual friends. I just listened to them like a spectator in the life of my own family. Suddenly Sarah fell. It was nothing serious. She just tripped over her own foot, but she started to cry. I got up quickly to go pick her up, but Karen was faster. "There, my love. It is okay. Nana is here. Nana." She was referring to herself. Sarah stopped crying and hugged Karen. "Nana, Nana." Karen looked at me with a triumphant smile. She already calls me Nana. It is her first grandmother word. I stood there with empty hands watching my granddaughter call another woman grandmother, watching how I was just Emily, never Grandma, never Nana, just Emily. I sat down again. I did not say anything. I swallowed the pain like always. 2 hours later, I said goodbye. "Thanks for the meal. Everything was delicious." Michael walked me to the door. "Thanks for coming, Mom. Son, can I ask you something?" "Sure. Why had you not invited me to see the house before?" He scratched his head uncomfortable. "Well, we have been very busy, Mom, getting settled, you know. But Karen comes every day." He looked at me. "Karen helps a lot with Sarah. Ashley needs her." "I can help too." "Yes, Mom, but, well, Karen is closer, and she has more time." "I have time too, Michael," he sighed. "Mom, I do not want this to become a problem." "It is not a problem, son. I just want to be part of my granddaughter's life." "And you are. But you have to understand that Ashley and Karen have a very special relationship, and I cannot get involved in that." There it was. The truth. Michael was not going to defend me. He was not going to fight for me. He was not going to confront Ashley or Karen. I was alone. "I understand," I said, and I left. In the Uber back home, I looked out the window and saw my reflection. A 55-year-old woman, alone, invisible, forgotten, a woman who had just discovered that her place in the family had been occupied by another grandmother, and that her son was not going to do anything to change it. After that meal, I stopped calling so much. I no longer had the strength. I no longer had hope. I concentrated on my house, on my garden, on my solitary routines. Every morning I got up, made coffee, watered the plants, and talked to David. I do not know what to do anymore, my love. Our son forgot me, and I am forgetting myself. 3 months passed without Michael calling me. I did not look for him either. I wanted to see how long it would take him to remember me. The answer was a lot. Until one day in December, I received a message from Ashley. "Hi, Emily. We invite you to the Christmas Eve party at our house on December 23rd. Please confirm attendance." A cold message. Formal. As if it were a corporate invitation. I confirmed, because I still had that stupid hope that things could get better. On December 23rd, I arrived at the house with a gift for Sarah. A giraffe plushie that I had knitted myself for weeks. Every stitch was an act of love. Every turn of the yarn a prayer. I rang the doorbell. Michael opened. "Hi, Mom. Merry early Christmas." "Merry Christmas, son." I entered. The house was full of people. Ashley's friends, Ashley's family, the inevitable Karen with her husband. I did not know anyone else. I sat in a corner of the living room, holding my bag with Sarah's gift. The party went on. Christmas music, punch, laughter, kids running. I observed everything from my corner like a ghost. At some point, Ashley passed by with Sarah in her arms. "Ash, can I give Sarah her gift?" "Oh yeah, leave it under the tree. We will open gifts later." I put the knitted giraffe under the huge Christmas tree they had in the living room. Among boxes wrapped in shiny paper with perfect bows, my gift looked humble, almost sad. The party continued. I served myself punch. I ate a brownie. I talked to a lady who turned out to be Ashley's interior decorator. "Beautiful house, right?" she said to me. "Yes, very beautiful. Mrs. Ashley has excellent taste, and her mom too. Between the two of them, they decorated it all." That is nice. Between the two of them. Ashley and Karen. Michael did not exist in that sentence, and I much less. At 9 at night, Ashley announced, "Okay, family, we are going to open gifts." Everyone gathered around the tree. Sarah was sitting on the floor, excited. Karen was the first to give a gift. "This is from Nana, my love." Sarah opened the box. It was a huge dollhouse, wooden, with furniture and everything. Expensive. Perfect. "How beautiful!" everyone shouted. Then followed John. A red tricycle. Then the friends. Designer clothes. Expensive toys. Finally, Ashley took my gift. "Let's see, Sarah. This is from Emily." She did not even say, "Your Grandma Emily," just Emily. Sarah opened the bag. She took out the knitted giraffe. She looked at it, touched it, and left it on the floor. "Next gift," she said with her little voice. Everyone laughed as if it were cute, but it pierced my heart. No one said, "How pretty." No one asked who had made it. No one noticed the hours of work, the love in every stitch. The giraffe was left forgotten on the floor while Sarah played with the other gifts. I got up. I went to the bathroom. I locked myself in, and I cried in silence. When I came out, they had already served dinner. I sat at a small table far from everyone. I ate in silence, watching Michael laugh with Ashley's friends, watching Karen hold Sarah, watching how my family existed perfectly without me. At 11 at night, I said goodbye. "I am leaving now. Thanks for the invitation." Michael barely turned around. "Take care, Mom. Merry Christmas." Ashley did not even get up. "Merry Christmas, Emily." I left that house with a shattered heart. In the Uber, the driver asked me, "Coming from a party, ma'am?" "Yes." "You look sad. Did something happen?" "No, everything is fine." But it was not fine. Nothing was fine. That night in my house alone, I made myself a chamomile tea and sat in the kitchen. I looked at the calendar. Christmas was 2 days away. Michael had not invited me to spend it with them. I opened my phone. I searched for the last message from my son. It was from 2 weeks ago. "Hi, Mom. Everything is good. I will call you later." Later never arrived. I closed the phone. I took a deep breath, and I made a decision. I was not going to chase him anymore. I was not going to beg for a place in his life. I was not going to beg for the love of my own son. If he wanted to see me, let him look for me. But I was not going to search anymore. I spent Christmas alone. I made soup for myself. I put up the small tree I had in the living room. I played carols, and at night I spoke to David. "I do not know if I am being foolish or brave, my love, but I cannot take it anymore. I am losing myself, and you always said that a woman without dignity is a woman without life." The day after Christmas at 3 p.m, my cell phone rang. It was Michael. "Hi, Mom. How did you spend Christmas?" "Good, son. Quiet. Why did you not let us know? We would have invited you." I felt rage. For the first time in years, I felt rage. "Michael, I waited for an invitation. It did not come. Mom, we assumed you would come. We did not think it was necessary." "Michael, you invited me to the party with a cold message from Ashley, but you did not invite me to Christmas dinner. Do you know what that means?" He stayed silent. "It means that I do not matter anymore, that I am a procedure, an obligation, not your mom. Do not say that." "It is the truth, son. And the worst is that you are allowing it. Mom Ashley has her way of being. She and her family are like that. I cannot—" "You cannot. What Michael, defend me. Include me. Remember that I exist. Mom, I do not want to fight. Neither do I, son. But I need you to understand something. I gave you $50,000. I gave it to you without hesitation. Do you know why? Because you are my son, and I would do anything for you. But since I gave you that money, you have not asked me how I am. You have not invited me to your house. You do not let me spend time with my granddaughter. Karen has a permanent bedroom in your house. I do not even have a chair to sit on without feeling uncomfortable." There was a long silence. "Mom, No, Michael. Let me finish. I know Ashley and Karen see me as a nuisance, and you are letting them. You are giving them permission to erase me, and I am not going to allow that anymore." "What do you mean?" "I mean that I need time to think, to decide what I am going to do with my life, because this way of half-existing in my son's life, I cannot do it anymore." "Mom, you are exaggerating." "Exaggerating, Michael? I spent Christmas alone. Did you spend Christmas thinking about me even for a second?" Silence. "That is what I thought," I said, and I hung up. My hands were shaking. My heart was beating fast, but for the first time in years, I felt something resembling dignity. That night, I took out the promissory note Michael had signed for me. I read it. I commit to pay the amount of $50,000 in a term of 2 years. 8 months had passed, not a single payment. They had not even mentioned it. I put the note away again, and I understood something that broke me and liberated me at the same time. My son did not see me as his mother. He saw me as a resource, and I had allowed that to happen, but no more. January passed entirely without Michael calling me. I did not look for him either. I dedicated myself to me. I started doing yoga in the mornings. I read books I had forgotten. I went for walks in the park. I met other ladies my age. We talked. We laughed. I realized something. I had forgotten what it was like to live without expecting anything from anyone, and it felt liberating. One day in February, Michael appeared at my house without warning. He rang the doorbell. I was in the garden pruning the roses. "Mom, can we talk?" "Sure, son. Come in." We went into the living room. I served him iced tea. "What happened, Michael?" He looked uncomfortable, nervous. "Mom, I need to talk to you about the money we owe you." There it was. Finally. "What about the money?" "It is just that things have been difficult. The house has a lot of expenses. Sarah is in a very expensive private school. Ashley wants to remodel the kitchen and, we have not been able to gather the payments for you." "Michael, 10 months have passed." "I know, Mom. But it is just that we do not have enough. So when are you going to pay me?" He lowered his gaze. "That is what I came to tell you. Ashley and I thought that maybe you could consider it as a gift, as your contribution to our family, to Sarah's future." I felt the air leave my lungs. "A gift?" "Yes, Mom. I mean, technically it is already yours, because Sarah is your granddaughter. The house is for her, too. It is like a family investment." "Michael, that money was my savings. It was my security." "Yes, but Mom, you have your house. You have your widow's pension. You are fine. We needed that money more than you." I stayed silent, looking at him, searching in his eyes for the boy who used to hug me, to the son who used to tell me, "Mommy, you are the best in the world." But that boy did not exist anymore. "Michael, your father earned that money for me, with his work, with his effort. That money is the only thing I have left of him, and you are asking me to give it away as if it were worth nothing." "Mom, it is not that it is worth nothing." "Yes, it is. To you it is worth nothing, just like me." "Mom, do not start with that again." "With what, Michael?" "With the truth. Tell me, when was the last time you invited me to your house without it being a social obligation?" "Mom, when was the last time you let me take care of my granddaughter? When was the last time you treated me like your mother and not like a burden?" "Enough, you are not a burden." "No, then why does Karen have a permanent bedroom in your house, and I have never been invited to stay even one night? Why does Sarah call her Nana, and she calls me Emily? Why did they open my gift at Christmas as if it were trash and nobody said anything?" Michael stood up. "Because Karen helps, because she is present, because she is not making drama all the time." His words hit me like a slap. "Drama asking for a place in my son's life is drama." "Mom, you do not understand how things are now. Ashley needs space. She needs her mom to be close. I cannot be in the middle of you two." "I am not asking you to be in the middle, Michael. I am asking you to defend me, to include me, to remember that I exist." "I do remember that you exist, but I cannot be fighting with Ashley all the time for you." There it was, the naked truth. I was a conflict, a problem, something he did not want to deal with. I sat down, took a deep breath, and felt how something inside me broke definitively. "Okay, Michael." "Okay, what?" "It is okay that you do not pay me back. Consider the money a gift." He relaxed. "Thanks, Mom. I knew you would understand. But with one condition." "Which one?" "Do not ever ask me for anything else. Not money, not favors, not understanding, because I have nothing left to give." "Mom, do not be like that." "I am not being anything. I am just setting boundaries, something I should have done a long time ago." "Mom." "You can leave, Michael. Give my regards to Ashley and Sarah." "Just like that." "Just like that." He stood there waiting for me to give in, to beg, to apologize, but I did not do it. Finally, he left. I closed the door, leaned against it, and cried. I cried for my lost son, for my granddaughter, who would never know her real grandmother, for the money I would never recover, for the life I had built that had collapsed. I cried until I had no more tears left. And then in the middle of that unbearable pain, I made a decision. The most difficult decision of my life. The next morning, I woke up early, dressed calmly, made coffee, and took out all the papers for my house. The deed, the utility bills, the will that David and I made years ago. I read the will. It said clearly, I leave all my assets to my wife Emily, and in case of her passing, everything will pass to my son Michael. I called a lawyer who was a friend of David. Mr. Reynolds, this is Emily. Emily, how are you? I have not heard from you in a long time. I need to change my will. Change in what sense? I want to disinherit my son. There was a silence. Emily, are you sure of what you were saying? Completely sure. Can I know why? Because my son already has enough, and I want my assets to go to someone who really needs them. To whom? To the community senior haven. I want to donate my house and everything I have. Emily, that is a huge decision. I know, but it is my decision. Can you help me? Of course, but I want you to think it through. Make sure it is not an impulsive decision. I have thought about it, Mr. Reynolds. I have been thinking about it for months. I do not want to live waiting for my son to value me anymore. I do not want this house to be a burden for me or for anyone. I want it to serve for something good. Okay, let's do it. 2 weeks passed. The lawyer prepared all the papers. He changed my will. He made the legal donation of the house to the senior haven with the condition that I could live there until I wanted to move. I signed everything without hesitation. And then I took my phone and called Michael. Mom, what happened? Michael, I need to tell you something important. What? I donated the house. Silence. What? I donated the house to the community senior haven. It is not mine anymore. It will not be yours anymore. Are you crazy? No, for the first time in years, I'm sane. Mom, that house is worth a fortune. That house was my inheritance. That house was mine, Michael, not yours, and I decided to do something good with it. You cannot do that. I already did. The papers are signed. It is irreversible. I am coming over. Do not come. There is nothing to discuss. And I hung up. I turned off my phone. I sat in the living room, and for the first time in months, I felt peace. I had lost everything, but I had gained my dignity, and that I discovered was worth more than anything. 3 days passed. Michael did not come. He did not call. Nothing. But I knew he would come, because now there was money involved, and money always makes people react. On the 4th day, there was a knock on the door. It was Michael, with Ashley. I opened. Mom, we have to talk. Come in. They entered the living room. Ashley looked at me with a mixture of rage and contempt that she did not even try to hide anymore. Mom, what did you do? Michael asked. I already told you, I donated the house. But you cannot do that. That house is our family heritage. I sat in the armchair. They remained standing like prosecutors. Michael, this house belonged to your father and me. We built it together. When he died, it remained in my name. It is mine, and I have the right to do with it whatever I want. Ashley intervened for the first time. Emily, that is an act of selfishness and revenge. You are punishing Michael for something that only exists in your head. I looked at her. I really looked at her. Ashley, do you know how many times I have been to your house in the last year? I do not know. Several times. 3 times. And all 3 were because you guys invited me out of obligation. Do you know how many times your mom has been there? She did not answer. Every day, I answered myself. Every day. She has her own bedroom. She has her own key. My granddaughter calls her Nana. She calls me Emily. I knitted her a giraffe with my own hands. It took me 3 weeks. She threw it on the floor and nobody said anything. Your mom bought her a $500 dollhouse and everyone applauded. Ashley crossed her arms. My mom is present. She helps. She does not just come to demand attention. I have never demanded anything. I have only asked for a place. A small place in the life of my son and my granddaughter, but you decided that place did not exist. Michael ran his hands through his hair. Mom, this is not about that. It is about you taking an impulsive decision that affects us all. Affects you? How does it affect you, Michael? You have your house, you have your jobs, you have Ashley's parents who give you everything. What did I take from you? You took our inheritance. There it was, the naked truth. They did not care about losing me. They cared about losing the money. Michael, did you ever think of me as your mom, or was I always just an asset? Do not say that. Then answer. Since you got married, how many times have you asked me how I am? How many times have you invited me to your house without it being an obligation? How many times have you defended my place in this family? Silence. Exactly. None. Because for you, I stopped being your mom the day you met Ashley. I became a burden, someone to tolerate, someone to receive money from, but someone not to include. Ashley spoke again. Emily, you always play the victim. My mom is also a grandmother, and she does not go around demanding attention all the time. Your mom does not demand because you give her everything without her asking, but I have to beg for a hug from my granddaughter. That is not true. No. Tell me, Ashley, when was the last time you let me take care of Sarah? When was the last time you called me to ask for advice? When was the last time you treated me like family and not like a load? Ashley did not answer. She just looked at Michael. This is ridiculous. Let's go, Michael. Your mother already made her decision. Now let her live with the consequences. Michael looked at me. Mom, if you do not reverse this, our relationship is going to break. I felt deep pain, but I also felt clarity. Michael, our relationship is already broken. It has been for months. I just took a while to realize it. I cannot believe you are doing this. I cannot believe you asked me to give away $50,000 and then expected me to give you this house too, as if I did not matter, as if my life and my effort were worth nothing. It is not that. Yes, it is. And the saddest part is that you do not even realize it. Ashley pulled Michael by the arm. Let's go. It is useless talking to her. Before leaving, Michael turned around. If you continue with this, do not look for me again, Mom. Do not call me again. Do not ask to see Sarah again, because it is over. His words went through me like knives, but I did not yield. Okay, son, if that is your decision, I respect it. Just like that. Just like that. They left. They slammed the door. I stayed alone in the living room in silence, feeling my life crumbling, but also feeling something strange. Relief. Relief from not having to pretend anymore, from not having to beg for love, from not having to swallow humiliation. That night I did not sleep. I spent it walking through the house, touching the walls, remembering. Here David and I hung the first painting. Here Michael learned to walk. Here we celebrated 1,000 Christmases. Here we built a life. And now that life would end, but not in vain, that house with all its memories would serve to give a dignified home to abandoned elderly people, to people who, like me, had been forgotten by their families. I sat in the kitchen, made coffee, and spoke to David. My love, I hope you agree with what I did. I know we built this house together. I know we wanted it to be for Michael, but Michael is no longer the boy we raised. He turned into someone I do not recognize, and I cannot keep living for someone who does not see me. I drank my coffee slowly and felt a deep calm. The next morning at 6 o'clock sharp, there was a knock on the door. It was Mr. Reynolds with the director of the Senior Haven. Good morning, Emily. We brought the donation document. Everything is ready for the final signature. Come in, Mr. Reynolds. We entered the living room. The director, a man of about 60 with kind eyes, shook my hand. Mrs. Emily, you do not know what this gesture means to us. This house will be a refuge for many people who have no one. We are going to put your name and your husband's name on a plaque. The David and Emily House, home of love and dignity. I felt my eyes filling with tears. Thank you. That means a lot to me. Are you sure you want to do this, Mrs. Emily? It is irreversible. Completely sure. I signed the papers one by one with a steady hand. The lawyer explained the terms. You can continue living here as long as you want. When you decide to leave, the house will pass completely to the Haven. They will take care of everything. You will not have to worry about anything. Perfect. And your son? Did you tell him? Yes, I told him, and he told me not to look for him again. The director looked at me with sadness. I am very sorry, ma'am. Do not be sorry. Sometimes losses are liberations. We finished. They left, and I stayed alone in my house. But I did not feel alone anymore. I felt free. Free of expectations, free of pain, free of having to be someone who did not exist anymore. Days passed, then weeks. Michael never called. I did not either. I dedicated myself to preparing the house for its new life. I donated most of my furniture. I kept only the essentials. I packed David's photographs, the letters we wrote to each other, the memories I did want to keep. And one afternoon while cleaning the closet, I found something that made me cry. An old shoebox. Inside all the drawings Michael made for me when he was a boy. For the best mom in the world. I love you, Mommy. You are my hero. I sat on the floor and read every single one. I cried, but not from sadness. I cried because that boy existed, because those moments were real, because that love, even if it did not exist anymore, had been true, and no one could take that away from me. I kept the drawings in a special box, and I put them with David's photographs. Our son was beautiful, my love. Maybe he did not end up being who we expected, but he was beautiful. One morning in April, 2 months after the donation, I was having breakfast when the doorbell rang. I thought it was the mailman, but when I opened, it was Karen, alone. "Emily, can we talk?" I looked at her, and I saw something in her eyes I had never seen before. Fear. "Come in." We entered the living room. I offered her coffee. She accepted. We sat facing each other. "Emily, I came to talk to you because things at Michael's house are not good." "What happened?" "Ashley and Michael are fighting a lot. About money, about the house, about everything. Ashley throws in his face that his mom betrayed them by donating the house. Michael is stressed. I think I exaggerated with my presence. I realized that maybe I was too invasive." I looked at her in silence. "And why are you coming here, Karen?" "I came to ask you to talk to Michael, fix things, reverse the donation because this situation is destroying my daughter." I felt a bitter laugh rising in my throat. "Karen, for 2 years you pushed me aside. You treated me like an intruder. You took my place with my granddaughter. You allowed Ashley to humiliate me again and again, and now that things are bad, you come to ask me to fix everything." "Emily, why?" "No, Karen. Let me finish. You and Ashley decided that I was not enough, that my love was not worth it, that my presence was a nuisance, and Michael allowed it. Now you are paying the consequences of your own decisions, and it is not my responsibility to save you." "But Sarah has 2 grandparents who adore her on Ashley's side. She has everything she needs. The only thing she does not have is a relationship with me, and that loss is hers, not mine." Karen lowered her gaze. "Emily, I am sorry. I really am sorry." "I am sorry too, Karen. I am sorry we could not be a family. I am sorry you decided to see me as a rival and not as an ally. I am sorry my son chose peace with you guys instead of justice with me. So there is nothing I can do." "No, not anymore." Karen stood up. Her eyes were wet. "I understand. Be well, Emily." "You too, Karen." She left, and I stayed there sitting in my living room feeling how time slowly but inevitably was beginning to serve justice. Because life always collects its debts, and I did not need to collect them myself anymore. I just needed to wait and live. 6 months passed, 6 months in which I heard nothing from Michael. I continued with my life. I signed up for painting classes at the community center. I met a group of wonderful women, all widows, all with stories similar to mine. We met on Thursdays to drink coffee and paint paintings that would never turn out well but made us laugh. One of them, Caroline, told me one day, "Emily, you look different, lighter." "I feel different, Caroline. I feel free." And it was true. For the first time in years, I was not waiting for a call. I was not thinking about what I had done wrong. I was not carrying the weight of unrequited love. I simply existed, and that was enough. The senior haven started making plans for the house. They proposed I stay 6 more months while they prepared the space to receive the first residents. I accepted. I moved into the smallest bedroom. I donated my big bed, the one I shared with David, and bought a single one. Light, simple. I packed everything I did not need, and I discovered that I actually needed almost nothing. One afternoon in October, while I was painting in the garden, my cell phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello? Mrs. Emily." "Yes, it is me." "This is City General Hospital calling. Your son Michael is here. He had a car accident. It is not critical, but he asked us to notify you." I felt my heart stop. "Is he okay?" "Yes, ma'am. He has some fractures and bruises, but he is stable. Can you come?" "I am on my way." I hung up. My hands were shaking. I grabbed my bag. I called an Uber and went to the hospital. On the way, my mind was a whirlwind. What if he was grave? What if he needed me? What if this was an opportunity to reconcile? but also another voice colder told me, "Where was he when you needed him?" I arrived at the hospital. I asked at the reception. They sent me to the 3rd floor. When I entered the room, Michael was in bed. He had his right arm in a cast, bandages on his head, bruises on his face. "Mom, you came." His voice sounded surprised, as if he did not expect me to go. "Of course I came, Michael. I am your mom." I sat next to his bed. I took his left hand, the one that was not hurt. "What happened?" "I was driving. I got distracted with my phone. I did not see the stop sign. A truck hit me on the driver's side. If it had been a little stronger—" He did not finish the sentence, but I understood. "Thank God you are okay." "Mom, I need to tell you something." "Tell me." "I am sorry. I am sorry for everything. I am sorry for how I treated you. I am sorry for how I let Ashley and Karen push you aside. I am sorry for asking you for that money. I am sorry for not valuing you." His eyes filled with tears. When the truck hit me, the only thing I thought was, I am going to die without having asked my mom for forgiveness. I felt my throat close up. "Michael." "No, Mom, let me finish. These months without speaking to you were the worst of my life. I realized many things. How I let Ashley control everything. How I allowed her family to make me feel that I was not enough if I did not give them everything. How I forgot who I am. And I forgot the most important person in my life, you." I cried. I could not help it. "Son." "Mom, do you forgive me?" I looked at him, and I saw the boy who cried when he fell. The teenager who hugged me before sleeping. The son who once told me, "You are my hero." "Of course I forgive you, Michael." He cried. I did too. We hugged, and for a moment I felt I got my son back. "Where is Ashley?" I asked. He wiped his tears. "She did not come. She said she was very busy with Sarah, that she would come later." I felt a pang of sadness for him. "And Karen?" "Neither. Ashley told her it was not necessary, that it was not serious, but I came." "Yes, Mom, you came. You always come." "I stayed with him all afternoon. I bought him a juice. I adjusted his pillows. I told him stories from when he was a boy to make him laugh, like before, like it always should have been." At 7 in the evening, Ashley arrived, alone. "Hi, Michael. How are you?" "Good, thanks for coming." She saw me. "Emily, what a surprise." "I came as soon as they told me." Ashley did not say anything else. She sat on the other side of the bed. She took out her phone and started checking messages. "Ash, where is Sarah?" Michael asked. "With my mom." "You did not want to bring her." "No, Michael, it is a hospital. It is not a place for children." "But I wanted to see her." "You will see her tomorrow when you get discharged." Michael did not insist, but I saw the sadness in his eyes. I stayed 1 more hour, then I said goodbye. "Mom, thanks for coming." "I am always going to come, son, always." I left the hospital, and in the Uber back, I thought about everything that had happened. Michael had asked for forgiveness, and I had forgiven him. But I also understood something important. Forgiveness does not erase consequences. Michael was still married to Ashley. He was still living in that world of appearances and demands. He was still trapped in a life that was consuming him, and I could not save him from that anymore. I could only love him from afar and wait. Weeks passed. Michael got out of the hospital. We started talking again, but carefully, with distance. He did not mention the house. Neither did I. One day he called me crying. "Mom, I need to talk to you." "What happened, son?" "Ashley asked for a divorce." I felt the floor move. "What?" "She says she does not love me anymore, that she married me out of pressure, that I was never the man she expected, that her family always knew I was not enough for her." "Michael, I am so sorry." "Mom, you were right about everything. I let them control me. I let them make me feel less, and the worst is that I lost you trying to please them." "You did not lose me, son. I am here." "Really, Mom? After everything I did to you, can you still say that?" "You are my son, Michael. No matter what happens, I am always going to be here." He cried on the phone like a lost child. "Mom, I lost everything. Ashley wants to take the house from me. She says her family put in more money. She wants full custody of Sarah. Karen hired the best lawyers. I have nothing. I do not even have enough to pay for my own lawyer." My heart broke. "Michael, how much do you need?" "No, Mom, I am not going to ask you for money again. I already took enough from you." "Michael, tell me how much you need." "Mom, tell me." $10,000 for the lawyer's retainer." "I'm going to give it to you." No, Mom. Yes, I am going to give it to you, because you are my son, and because this time I know you really need it. Not to impress anyone, not to live above your means, but to defend yourself. Mom, where are you going to get that money? I have some savings. I'm going to use them. Mom, you do not have the house anymore. You cannot be left with nothing. Michael, money comes and goes, but you are my son, and I'm not going to leave you alone. He cried. I love you, Mom. I love you so much. I love you too, son. I gave him the money. He hired a lawyer. The divorce process began. It was long. It was painful. Ashley fought for everything. The house, the furniture, the savings, Sarah's custody. Karen hired a private investigator to look for Michael's dirty laundry. They found that once he drove after drinking. They used it against him. Michael lost the house. He lost most of his savings. And they only gave him supervised visits with Sarah once a week. He moved to a small apartment in the city, alone, broken, devastated. I accompanied him through everything. I went to the hearings. I listened to him cry. I cooked his favorite meals. I reminded him who he was. Michael, this does not define you. You fell, but you are going to get up. Mom, I lost everything. Not everything. You have me. A year after the divorce, Michael began to rebuild himself. He got a better job. He went to therapy. He started having a better relationship with Sarah. And one afternoon, while we were eating together at my house, he told me, Mom, I went to see the senior haven. I saw the plaque with your name and Dad's. It is beautiful what you did, Mom. Truly, I feel proud of you. Thanks, son. Mom, I know I lost my inheritance, but I gained something much more valuable. I gained your respect, and I gained my own. I looked at him with pride. That is the only thing that matters, son. That night when Michael left, I sat in the garden. I looked at the stars, and I spoke to David. My love, our son is finding his way. He fell, but he is getting up, and I am here to help him, not with money, not with things, but with love. With the love I should have never conditioned on anything. The wind blew softly, and I felt David's presence, and I knew he was at peace. Because justice does not always come with thunder and lightning. Sometimes it comes silent, natural, inevitable. Ashley kept the house, but she also ended up alone. Karen kept going every day, but now they fought too. Because when there is no one to control, they control each other. Sarah grew up confused, surrounded by luxury, but without emotional stability. And Michael, who had lost everything, began to find himself. Life always collects its debts, and I did not need to collect anything anymore. I just needed to live, love, and let go. Because that, I discovered, is true freedom. 3 years have passed since I donated the house. 3 years in which my life changed completely. I no longer live in the suburban house. I moved to a small, bright apartment downtown near the market. It has a terrace with pots full of flowers, red geraniums, lavender, rosemary. Every morning I wake up with the sun coming through the window. I make coffee, I water my plants, and I thank life for having given me a second chance to be myself. The house on Elm Street became the David and Emily home. Now 12 elderly people who were abandoned by their families live there. They have a dignified roof hot food company, Love. I go visit them once a week. I bring them pastries. I read them books. I listen to their stories. One of the residents, Mrs. Higgins, told me recently, Emily, you saved our lives. No, Mrs. Higgins, you saved mine. And it was true, because by letting go of that house, by letting go of the need to be loved by someone who did not want to love me, I found my true purpose. Helping, living lightly, being free. Michael and I see each other twice a week. On Tuesdays, we have dinner together. On Sundays, we go for breakfast. We talk about everything about his job, about Sarah, about life, about how he is rebuilding himself little by little. 6 months ago, he met a woman. Her name is Laura. She is an elementary school teacher, divorced with 2 children. Mom Laura is different. She is simple, warm. She does not care how much money I have or where I live. She just wants to be with me. Then she is the one son. Would you like to meet her? I would love to. Last week, Michael introduced her to me. They came to my apartment. Laura brought a key lime pie she made herself. Mrs. Emily, Michael has spoken a lot about you. Call me Emily, please, and welcome. The 3 of us had dinner. We talked, we laughed, and I saw how Michael looked at her. With love, with peace, with authenticity. Mom, Laura knows my whole story. I told her everything about Ashley, about Karen, about the house, about how I treated you, and she did not judge me. She just hugged me and said, "The important thing is who you are now." Laura took my hand. "Emily, Michael told me what you did, donating your house to help others. That speaks a lot about who you are, and I am happy to be his mom." I felt my eyes filling with tears. "Thank you, Laura. Take care of my son and let him take care of you too." "I will." When they left that night, I stayed on the terrace looking at the city lights, and I felt something I had not felt in years: complete peace. Michael is fine, he is finding his way, and I can let him go without fear because I do not need him to exist anymore, and he does not need me to be happy anymore. We simply love each other, and that is enough. Sarah is now 6 years old. Michael has shared custody 1 week with him, 1 week with Ashley. 2 months ago, Michael asked me to go with him to pick her up from school. "Mom, I want Sarah to know you for real. It is time." We went together. We waited at the school gate. When Sarah came out, she ran towards Michael. "Daddy." "Hi, my love. Look, I want to introduce you to someone very special." Sarah looked at me with those big, curious eyes. "She is your Grandma Emily, your daddy's mom." "Hi," she said shyly. "Hi, Sarah. You are so pretty. Are you the grandma my daddy talks about?" "Yes, my love, it is me. My daddy says you are very good, that you help many people." "I try to." "And is it true that you gave away your house?" "Yes, my love, I gave it away so other people could live in it." Sarah looked at me with admiration. "That is like being a superhero." I laughed. "Well, I do not know about that, but I like to help." That afternoon, the three of us went to the park. Sarah played on the swings, Michael pushed her. I watched them from a bench. At one moment, Sarah came running over. "Grandma Emily, can you push me?" My heart stopped. Grandma Emily, finally. "Of course, my love." I pushed her on the swing. She laughed. She shouted, "Higher, Grandma!" And I felt that everything had been worth it. All the years of pain, all the tears, all the lonely nights had been worth it to get to this moment, to hear my granddaughter call me Grandma, to see her smile, to be part of her life. When we finished, Sarah hugged me. "Grandma, can I go to your house one day?" "Whenever you want, my love." "And will you teach me to knit? My daddy says you knitted a giraffe for me when I was a baby." I felt a lump in my throat. "Yes, my love, I will teach you to knit." Michael looked at me, and in his eyes I saw gratitude, love, respect. "Thanks, Mom," he whispered. "Thanks to you, son." A month ago, Sarah came to my apartment for the first time. Michael let her spend the afternoon with me. I taught her to knit. We made cookies together. I told her stories about when her dad was a boy. Was my daddy naughty? Very. One time he climbed a tree and could not get down. His dad had to go rescue him with a ladder. Sarah laughed. "My daddy is very funny." "Yes, my love, and he loves you very much." When Michael came to pick her up, Sarah did not want to leave. "Daddy, can I stay a little longer with Grandma?" "Not today, my love, but next week you can come again." "Really? Really?" Sarah hugged me tight. "I love you, Grandma." And I, who had waited 3 years to hear those words, cried of happiness. "I love you too, my love, so much." Life went on. One day, while walking through the market, I bumped into Karen. I had not seen her in 2 years. She looked tired, older with completely white hair. "Emily." "Karen, how are you?" "Good, more or less." We stood there, 2 women who once fought for the same space. Now we were just 2 grandmothers getting old. "How is Sarah?" I asked. "Good, growing. She is a beautiful girl." "Yes, she is." "Emily, I want to tell you something." "Tell me." "You were right, about everything. I was very controlling, very invasive. I thought I was helping Ashley, but in reality I was destroying her marriage and her life." "Karen." "No, let me finish. Ashley and I almost do not speak anymore. She blames me for the divorce. She says I pressured her to be someone she was not, that I put ideas in her head that I made her unhappy." I looked at her, and instead of feeling satisfaction, I felt compassion. "I am sorry, Karen. I am sorry, too. I am sorry for how I treated you. I am sorry for taking your place. I am sorry for everything." "It is over, Karen. It is over." "Do you forgive me?" "I forgave you a long time ago. I cannot live carrying grudges. Life is too short." Karen started crying right there in the middle of the market. "I lost my daughter, Emily. I pressured her so much that I lost her, and now I'm alone." "You are not alone, Karen. You have Sarah." "Sarah does not call me Nana anymore. Now she calls you Grandma." And she is right, because you do know how to love without controlling. I never learned. It is never too late to learn. Do you really believe that? Yes, I really believe it. We said goodbye, and I continued my way with a light heart. Because forgiveness is not for the other, it is for oneself. And I had already forgiven everything. Yesterday, Michael came to visit me with news. Mom, Laura, and I are going to get married. Son, what happiness! And we want you to be the one to marry us. Well, not legally, but we want you to give us your blessing in the ceremony. As the matriarch of the family, I felt my chest fill with pride. It would be an honor. Mom, this time, it is going to be different. It is going to be a small wedding, only the people who really matter to us, and you are going to be in the front row where you should have always been. Thanks, son. No, Mom, thanks to you, for not giving up on me, for forgiving me, for teaching me what true love is. We hugged, and I knew that everything had come full circle, that everything had been worth it. This morning I woke up early, made my coffee, watered my plants, and sat on the terrace to write this story. Because I needed to tell it. I needed someone somewhere to hear this and know that she is not alone. That many of us have gone through the same. That many of us have been forgotten, undervalued, used. But also that it is possible to get out of there. That it is possible to recover dignity. That it is possible to forgive without forgetting. To let go without abandoning. To love without losing oneself. If my story helps just one woman open her eyes, it will have been worth it. If just one mother reads this and understands that her value does not depend on how much her children need her, but on who she is herself, then all the tears I shed will make sense. Because I learned something no one taught me. That a mother can love her children without canceling herself. That a woman can be generous without being foolish. That true love does not beg or plead. It simply is. And that sometimes losing everything is the only way to find oneself. Today I am 58 years old. I live in a small apartment. I do not have my own house. I do not have millions in savings. But I have peace. I have my son who seeks me because he loves me, not because he needs me. I have my granddaughter who calls me Grandma with true affection. I have friends who make me laugh. I have plants that bloom on my terrace. I have David's memory accompanying me in every step. And I have my dignity intact. And that I discovered is all a woman needs to be happy. The other day, Sarah asked me, Grandma, why did you give away your house? I looked at her, and I told her the truth. Because sometimes, my love, to find your true home, you have to let go of the one that is making you unhappy. Your home is not a place, it is a feeling. It is where you feel at peace. It is where you are yourself. And I found my home when I stopped looking for it in others and found it inside me. She looked at me with those wise eyes that children sometimes have. You are very brave, Grandma. No, my love, I just learned to love myself. And that, I discovered, is the most important lesson of all. To love oneself, to respect oneself, not to betray oneself to please others. Today, as I finish writing this story, I look out the window. I see the blue sky. I hear the birds. I feel the sun on my face. And I tell David, wherever he is, we did it, my love. We lost the house, but we gained life. And that is all that matters. Thanks for listening to me until the end. If this story touched your heart, subscribe and activate the bell to listen to more stories of women who transformed their pain into wisdom. Every day, a woman, a life lesson. Share this story with someone you love. Sometimes a story like this can change a whole day. God bless you, and see you next time.